What's up, my friends? Welcome back to another edition of Crossing the Line podcast. Thanks so much for hanging out with us once again. It's the four of us for a second consecutive week. Actually, it might be a third consecutive week at this point. Mike Davella, Jack Molesky, Mark Vignani, myself, Tyler Zulli. And before we go into anything, the pleasantries, the fun stuff, the messing around, the segments, boys, we got to celebrate. We got a lot to celebrate this weekend. So first and foremost, Mike, a massive congratulations to you and your now fiance Jill, getting engaged this weekend. So, I mean, you could tell us the story, but man, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you, boys. I appreciate it. I will be honest, similar to like my college days, I blacked out. There was the only thing I remember, there was some dude hang gliding above us while it happened. So if you were hang gliding and you were videotaping yourself hang gliding, hit me up because that would be a sick video.
That would actually be a dope proposal video, like that you
Aerial
probably
view.
don't have to pay a lot of money for.
Look
Yeah.
up. I definitely didn't plan this. No, but it went well. We went down to Lido Beach in Sarasota and went down on one knee, did all the classic stuff, and she said yes. So I said that I was spared the embarrassment, and everything has been happy ever since. So,
So
this podcast is going to break everything up.
I got to ask you two questions because it's the first two that everybody gets asked, or
All right.
at least I feel that way. One, did you cry?
I did not.
And two, did you get all the way down to one knee?
I did get all the way down to
See,
one knee.
I had some knee issues and I almost didn't make it down.
You know, from
I actually think I
my
remember seeing a picture of you, Tyler, where you're hovering. You got a little hover going.
Yeah, so you know that exactly which one I'm talking about. So I
Yes.
always ask anybody that gets engaged, I'm like, did you make it to the ground? Because I barely did.
I did, but I was on sand, so I had an advantage. It was a little bit softer. Also, I didn't get a photographer. I wanted it to be an intimate thing where it was just the two of us. So no one will have any proof whether I did or not, except for the hang gliding guy. So if you have it, let me know.
Now
Otherwise,
we gotta find this guy.
More
can't
reason to
prove
find
whether or
hang
not I
gliding
did
guy.
it.
I'm imagining like the celebratory ice cream afterwards. Like Jill's like, yeah, and I can't believe you got that guy to hang glide right at the perfect time. That's amazing. Yup,
And
I did that. I
Good
did
shout
that
out
too.
because that's exactly what we did. The first thing we did was went to Kill Wins and got ice cream afterwards.
That's what I figured everyone does after they get engaged. I would
Sounds
never
like
know. I'm
should be.
single for life, but you know.
Sounds like the mature adult thing to do is to go get ice cream.
Sure.
If there's one thing in my TikTok influencer stage that I could advise anybody getting engaged, go get ice cream afterwards. It was awesome. It was even better. No, it wasn't even better, but it was just as good.
Dude, ice cream and a crisp high five sounds amazing after that.
Damn right.
Only way to celebrate a proposal.
I mean, listen, you are the most important people in the area. For like, you've got yourself a good half an hour to 45-minute block where like people will come up to you and be like, "Yeah, great job," blah blah blah.
Well,
And it's like
There
it
was
really
only
does
one,
happen.
other than the hang gliding guy, there was only one other couple that saw it. And I was like very hell bent on making it very private. Like, even though we were on the beach, it was during sunset and there were
Yeah.
a ton of people on the main strip. And I was just like walking, trying to get through it, like find a place to do it. And finally got to a spot where there was only one other couple. It would have taken them about 90 seconds to walk up to us. And I did it right before they could have gotten through. And we were like FaceTiming our families on the beach afterwards. It was still, the sun was still setting. And the couple came walking back, and the one guy was like, "Oh, you did do it. I thought I saw you guys." He like fist pumped with a little Johnny drama action. And I was like, "Oh, that was kind of cool." And Jill was like, "Damn it, those stupid couple ruined our moment." No,
Honestly, that's the only reason I proposed was for the clout. Like that, it was kind of all downhill after the first 24 hours, but like getting high fives from everyone else.
Jack just wanted a standing ovation.
I imagine much like me, I'm gonna do it in the middle of just like a very big
Sure.
areas where everyone can see it.
Yeah.
Because I want the crowd as well. I want the free drinks. I want oh my God, the meals on the house.
Can I
guys.
There you go.
propose?
Like
Can I propose for your proposal? Beaver Stadium, 50-yard
Whoa.
line, but you dress up as the Nittany Lion.
Whoa.
And
Do a
she dresses
pulse.
up as Drew Aller.
Ooh, after winning a national championship.
Damn right.
Well, that'll never
Romantic
happen.
AF.
That's good. It's probably right hand in hand with what my real proposal will be. Never happening.
Ouch.
Um,
Self-burn.
Damn, Dad.
I had a
Rare.
revelation yesterday after
Rare,
you said
but
that. I went,
often-
wow, I'm so happy for Mike. Oh my God, I'm the only one single now.
Hey, ladies, Mark is single. Hit him up.
So
We'll find out a way to get him in touch with you if you're interested.
So I do want to ask you, Mark. I want your opinion on this now that you bring this up. Do you think a married friend is a better or a worse wingman?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Oh man!
And on that question, we'll do it right after this, right here on Crossing the Line. Had to get that in. I totally forgot to do the intro, to be quite honest with you.
That's fine.
I just tried to sneak it in as best as I could. But yes, welcome into Crossing the Line podcast. Once again, we're celebrating the good news that Mike is an engaged man now. So I will follow up with that question, Mark. Do you think that a married guy would be a better or worse wingman?
I want to say better because they almost never get to go out and they never get to be alone with the boys. So they want to be your wingman so bad. But if I go out with my brother, that's how it is. He's like, he wants to be. I'm like, hey man, it's cool. We can just be brothers today.
I almost feel like could that backfire depending on the person though, because it's like that person that tries too hard and then you completely blow it.
That is true. It's tough.
I'm going to be honest. I think it only has to do with their personality. You could have a married guy, you could have a single guy, vice versa. Either they're going to be really good and smooth and be helpful, or they're going to either be in it for themselves and try to take over your spot, or they're going to, not want to go talk to people. They're just going to want to hang with the boys because this is their time to just do everything with the fellas away from the family, etc. So it is a tricky spot because I don't think that there is one mold that fits. This person's married, they're going to be a better wingman, or this person is single, they're going to be a better wingman. I think you just have to find the right person with the right demeanor, because I've seen plenty of my single friends be great wingmen for one another, and I've seen them be assholes to one another and try to get the girl for themselves. Or I've seen guys that are engaged or married be really social and be like, all right, it's my night out on the town. We're going to have some fun. We're going to set you up. And then there are people that I'll probably fit into this category are like, I'm antisocial. Let's just get our own table and hang out with the boys.
I mean, I think that the correct answer is your best friend is married and also gay. Because like Josie has a gay best friend here in Pennsylvania and he's a Rangers fan. So he's quickly becoming a good friend of mine. And every time I go out with him, he just talks to women and it's so easy and they all love him. And that's the perfect wingman because he's not trying to hit on them. They know he's not trying to hit on them and he can put in the best, honest, good word for you. And he probably knows you better than you know yourself. Every time I go out with this guy talking.
So Mark, move back to Philly.
Last time I tried to go out with you though, Jack, that you realized that you were just madly in love with me. That's the real problem here.
That's true. Also, would he
That's
be
all right. The last
attracted
time I
to
tried
Mark
to go out
because
with you, Mark? Last time I tried to go out with you, Mark, before not the last time, the time before, you got us kicked out of pickles within seconds.
Mark, the last time we were out together was Zuli's wedding, and you tried to roll out of a moving car, I believe, that night.
Oh yeah, I was the one driving. I'm the reason he's alive to this day.
Listen, that may have been the drunkest I've been ever of all time.
We won't put Mark on blast too much, but I've never seen another human being try to get in a fight with a semi truck on the Schuylkill while also simultaneously doing the Seth Rogen laugh. He would just turn to me, do the Seth Rogen laugh, turn over the semi truck in front of us. He'd start screaming at him. Hey, F you. It was in hindsight, it was a great story. In the moment, I was panicking.
Mark left our table at the wedding for like 20 minutes. And I thought he had just gone to the bathroom. And then I go to the bar to get another drink. And he's there just like perfecting his secret handshake with the bartender as he rips his 15th Jim Beam shot. I mean, it was impressive.
If you want a good time, invite Mark to your wedding.
Hey, is it my fault that the bartenders became my best friend? It wasn't even because I was there that often. Well, it might have been.
Do you know what the dumbest rule? I'm sure you guys experienced this at either my wedding or a wedding. The dumbest rule at the bar of all time is, well, we can't do shots. Okay, no shots, fine. Well, what can I do? Well, you can do whatever your liquor of choice on ice. What's the difference?
I think one time I just said, "Hey, can I just get a whiskey neat?"
Yeah.
They might
Put
give
it in
you
a
that.
small glass for me
'Cause
too, like a shot glass.
If you order whiskey neat or like, especially if you go, I want bourbon or I want like scotch, like a more considered like sophisticated liquor, they're going to be like, all right, this guy's sipping on this. He's going to be good, right?
Right.
You're not, right?
No,
So,
no.
but I don't understand the difference. If I say, hey, I want a shot of bourbon, which is like my liquor of choice, or I want bourbon on ice, and I just go back to my table and I take the big ice cube out.
The difference is,
Mark sips those night were the equivalent of Joey Chestnut's bites when he's eating a hot dog.
Inhalation.
I was getting after it before we even got there. All right.
I'm so proud of you.
did we mention Mark had a secret handshake with the bartender?
Maybe Mark is Mark's best wingman.
Mork is Mark's best wing.
Mark.
I think Seth Rogen.
That's
is
what you
Mark's
call
best
yourself when you're
wingman.
drunk.
That's not what I call myself. That's what all my friends made my drunk alter ego. So I've just
That's a
decided
good
to
one.
lean all the way in.
Tyler, do you have a drunk alter ego?
I don't.
Bird
I
dog.
don't think. I don't. Yeah, well, no, me and Bird Dog don't get along. I think so. Here's the thing. I don't do anything differently than I do sober, except I'm significantly loud. Like, because I'm a personable person. I like to talk to people. I love to have conversations. I love doing things like trivia. I like to sing, even though I can't do it. Like, those are all drunk experiences that I still do. I just get very, very loud.
Mike, we know yours is Hurricane, Mike. Although that one has probably been retired.
I know. There hasn't been a hurricane. Funny enough, I do live in Florida now. There hasn't been a hurricane in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Probably everybody around me thankful for that.
I'd be curious. Do I have one? Because I've been told by Josie that I don't really do anything different when I'm drunk. I feel like I have to get really
You
far.
somehow get more confident, which I didn't even think was possible.
Well, I will say this for you, Jack. I have never seen a human being, and I've drank with a lot of different people in a lot of different scenarios. I have never seen a human being with the smallest buzz window of all time. Because you stay sober longer than most people have any right to stay sober. And then it's like an extra beer or an extra sip, and it's like, whoa, Jack's hammered.
Jack could like have an interview for a really important job, hammered, and ace it.
Oh, I don't disagree at all. I think you would crush it because you are the same person.
I actually get so nervous. I have to get hammered before all my job. I've landed 3 jobs hammered.
That's great work there, Ron. I'm proud of you.
Jack certainly has never drank alcohol and then went on the radio in college. Definitely never happened before.
And I definitely also did not drink before my freshman year psychology tests because my professor said that if you drink a couple beers before a test, it actually loosens you up and makes you, get better grades. So I drank.
So that's why you didn't do it.
I drank 3 Natty Lights at 7:30 in the morning before a 9 a.m. test and did just as poorly as I did on all the other tests. So I think I was just not good at psychology.
Set the standard.
We also definitely didn't bring in a Gatorade squirt bottle full of mixed drinks into our theater class freshman year.
Oh, you mean the Blue Mountain Dew? You mean the Blue Mountain Dew and what was it? The UV?
Whatever
Blue
the hell that was.
It was
Blue Wave.
and the Blue Mountain Dew. Yes, we did that for our last theater. I mean, we didn't do that for our last theater class.
It was like
I still
straight
remember
up
you guys having to go into your
sunscreen.
dorms. And you're like, hey, can I just get like a backpack or like a bag real quick, and then I'll just bring it down to your car, and then we'll just take it up. I'm like, oh, okay, that works. Yeah.
All right.
Thank God for Mark.
Speaking of, I know this is not the sports conversation we have at all, but I think this is better conversation, to be quite honest. Have you guys seen this? It's not new anymore, but it's relatively new. Have you seen this thing that's going around? It's called the Borg.
I have.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's for anybody that has it, it's called it's a blackout rage gallon, and it's basically a gallon of water. You dump half out, you pour vodka into it, and then like whatever, like Mio or Gatorade powder, like whatever you want to put in it to flavor it, and then you just like shake it real well, and that's your blackout rage gallon.
It's basically what is it like the riot juice from Always Sunny?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. But they name it, and they have to you write in Sharpie on the gallon jug whatever name it is with Borg in it. So like a popular one is like Borg and Wallen, or
Big Bad
like
Beetleborg.
yeah, Borg
Nice.
meets World.
Guys, the only difference
Borgasm.
between the Borgs and what we were doing is that we were just putting it into like a trash can and like a great or a random Tupperware like drawer, and we put as many different alcohols, and you just kind of trusted that nobody put anything gross in there. And you're like, all right, well, I'm just gonna take my cup and dip in here, or you took
You
the
put
other cup and you dipped into your cup, monster stuff.
You put a lot of faith, not you personally, Mark. I mean, you
No, me
like
too.
plural. You put a lot of faith in people that you may never have met before that night to literally have not.
No. Mork puts a lot of faith into people.
Fair, very true.
How about
But, like,
Borky Wild?
I mean, there you go.
New flavor.
But like you would go to a party in college, and literally, Mark is correct. Like sometimes it would just be in a Gatorade container. I mean, listen, I went to one, and that was probably the worst I ever did. Like they made it in their tub.
Yeah,
that's
Like it was
fucked.
literally just sitting stagnant in the tub that they showered in. It was
That's
disgusting looking back on.
Hey, there's a good one for Mark. It's Seth Borgen. Can you give us your
Uh,
Seth Rogen
There you
laugh
go.
I
one time?
cannot, not on the not
Not-
unless I'm messing up.
Not unless you're drunk.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, well, guys, we got a lot to get into. By the way, we do have other good news. Obviously, I apologize to say this in advance, Jack, but unfortunately for you, Mike's good news does trump your good news. You also have good news. You found yourself a new home.
yes. Yeah, Josie and I broke up, and so in the arms of a new woman, I found a new home. Nope. Cut it.
Of
damn.
all the things
Cut
you've
back
said on
in.
this show, that's what you're cutting.
Breaking
Yeah,
news, Joes.
she jokes on me. She doesn't listen to the show. Yeah, no, new apartment here in Pennsylvania.
closer.
Much closer. Yeah, taking advantage of it soon. Zuli and I are golfing on Saturday as we get prepared for whenever the first crossing line invitational scramble drunk.
Well, you're golfing on Saturday. I'm gonna be on a golf course.
Tyler, start messing with his head.
No, I can't. It doesn't matter.
Impossible.
It doesn't. He could play left-handed and probably beat me.
I am so incompetent left-handed. It's
Fair.
disgusting, actually. But before we get on to other sports, I did have a quick segue into sports off of Mike's proposal, because I was thinking of segments because I'm an idiot. And I thought, even though I did the segment last week, that it was my segment again this week. So I thought of one that we can just go through real quick, which was basically the equivalent to a proposal in sports is a contract. You're pledging yourself to someone that you really want to be with for a long time. So my hypothetical is, name me a hypothetical proposal if you were a GM of any of your favorite teams in your lifetime, a hypothetical sports proposal that you would have loved to make that your team never made.
It's a great question.
Like a contract that your team never made, but you wish they had made. I've got a couple. I'm happy to lead it off, and I feel like I'll go hockey because I got to stay on brand for a little bit of the show. So we're going with 2016 when he was a free agent. I think the Rangers probably would have won a cup now if they had a true goal scorer in their lineup over the last 15 years. So I would have loved them to sports propose to Steven Stamkos when he was a free agent in 2016, because they lost in the second round in 6 games to the Senators in the following playoff year, but they probably would have gone a lot farther if they had a guy that could put the puck in the back of the net. Honorable mention to the one Mike mentioned that to me earlier that I had also thought of is Yankees offering Bryce Harper, which they never did, and he wanted to go there. So they're stupid, but Stamkos Rangers.
Yeah, that's a good one. Guys, if you don't mind, I'll go to the NBA.
Go for it.
With this one, and it was an offer that was discussed a lot on in sports circles on Philadelphia sports radio around that cycle. I was just getting into the scene, and I remember it being a massive point of conversation for a while. Do you remember the NBA year that like 4 legit superstar type players were all set to be free agents in the same year? Whatever year that it was.
Yeah. It was like 2019.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was right before the bubble season.
Yeah.
But the Sixers were legitimately, for the first time in my adult life, in contention for a superstar free agent. And I understand why he went to LA. But listen, the Sixers had an opportunity to sign LeBron James that offseason. And from a basketball standpoint, to go play with a younger Joel Embiid, to play with, I guess at the time, still Ben Simmons, it would have made a ridiculous amount of sense for that team. They would have been one of the strongest teams in the league, and I think would have been in contention for a title. So for me, that year, I'm sure they did offer, but to win a contract dispute or whatever you want to call it with LeBron.
I got a good one I just thought of randomly. The Eagles not giving a contract to LaShawn McCoy because Chip Kelly sucks and we hate him. Because if you think about it now, I guess people might say Miles Sanders, but really, have we had a number one? You give him the ball, he's going to make something happen back.
No,
I wouldn't say Miles Sanders is either, really.
I mean, I thought last year was his best year by far, and I was a pretty big Miles Sanders detractor as a pro, but he proved me wrong last year. But no, I mean, LaShawn McCoy is a top 10 running back of the last 2 decades.
He was transcendent a little bit.
Yeah.
He kind of started making it be like you can shake and bake a little bit and go side to side and wait for holes to open up. That was a tough one. That would just hit my brain.
Well, and not only did they not offering him a contract, but moving him for looking back, which was just a horrendous trade for Kiko Alonso. It was just a bad move. Mike?
That's a really good question. And honestly, weirdly enough, this is my honorable mention. The one that I was going to say that came to mind is something that almost did come to fruition, and they did make the move. It just was something where the Flyers made an offer sheet and had an agreement with Shea Weber. And I think it was 2011 or 2012. It was like right after they had their success going to the Stanley Cup Finals and everything. And I was all aboard the Flyers train. I think that was when they still had Jaromir Jagr, or maybe the year they signed Jaromir Jagr. And I was like, if they get Shea Weber, it's going to be amazing. And they got the offer sheet accepted, and then the Predators matched the offer sheet, and that was like so death crushing to me. And I don't think it would have made a big difference. I think it was like a 10, 12, 13-year contract or something. So it wouldn't have ended up panning out. But to me, that was always, a what could have been thing. But I really think like if there was in a perfect world, the proposal that I would have loved to see was there was a lot of buzz after Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies that they would potentially try to pair him with Mike Trout. And I know obviously they would have had to figure out a way to make a ridiculous trade to get him to come to Philly. And, we would have needed that ridiculous contract that he ended up signing with the Angels. But I really do think that that's going to be something where it would have been so cool to see him go home and make that kind of money. Like he can make that money anywhere. I'm so surprised that he really wanted to settle down and sign that long of a contract in Anaheim, because otherwise I think that there's never going to be the legacy for Mike Trout that he deserves based on where he's located. And I think that just sucks for baseball and for, rooting for a guy who grew up so close to home. I think that would have been so much fun to watch. Obviously, like you could ever have one of the best baseball players of all time on your team, you take that. But on top of that, just the thing that it would have brought to what we've seen, like instead they've pivoted and they've gotten a couple of different big names. And obviously, would have taken a lot to get him to come over in a trade, but had he not signed that contract, who knows what could have happened.
I got two quick hitters for you too. Oh, you go ahead, Ty.
No, because I was gonna flip the script a little bit, so you please go ahead.
Dude, not offering Jimmy and giving it to Ben and Tobias Harris a max contract, terrible. Not offering T.O. and giving it to McNabb because he had like his third DUI at that point, so who cares? He was in like the decline at that moment. You could have had star wide receivers that could have lasted forever.
Well, and with that one too, specifically, like we looked at McNabb and he had the resurgence in 2008. The whole team had a resurgence in 2008, right? They sneak into the playoffs, get hot. They win a road playoff game against the Giants and the Vikings. But I mean, other than that, that was the shot, right? Because to me, I don't know how you guys feel about it from a talent standpoint, not from a productivity standpoint, but from a talent standpoint. Terrell Owens is the most talented player to ever put on an Eagles uniform. I mean, like you could go Reggie White, right? But I think from a talent perspective, I lean T.O. that hurts to not be able to make that. Like looking back on it, we all took sides, right? Were you team T.O. or team Donovan? But like looking back on it, the Eagles screwed T.O.
Yeah.
Donovan screwed T.O.
Donovan screwed T.O. big time, which in turn screwed the Eagles, which in turn screwed Donovan. Yeah. Yeah,
and
6 degrees of separation.
Like 4 or 5 times over, so.
Correct. Also, on the flip side, if you guys don't mind, I thought thinking about this while we were describing this conversation, a contract that did get made that you wish you could take back.
There's plenty of those.
I know Mark kind of gave one with the Tobias, Tobias over me.
Tobias is easy.
But one recently for me that I wouldn't have done at the time, and it's even worse now, is the Flyers giving JVR his return contract, because that cap hamstrings you to the point where you probably still could have, but you pretended that money was an issue where you were out of the Johnny Gaudreau sweepstakes, even though
there's another one
to play for you.
There's another one.
The JVR thing spiraled that out of control. JVR has cursed this Flyers team since the day he wasn't Patrick Kane.
And you're forgetting about the guy that I bring up once every other podcast, fucking Rasmus Ristolainen. Let's see what that guy.
You hate paid. This guy.
Rasmus
it's like
Ristolainen.
8.7, right? 9, something like that.
It's only 5. I think 5,
really?
5.5. But it feels like it. I know why you're saying that, because it feels like 8. I think it's 5.5 or 5.75.
This guy had 20 points this season.
He was like
posted a -4.
That's honestly
considering
not that bad.
First of all, for the Flyers, and then for him.
Right. Well, plus minus is probably the most misleading stat that you can put on a player, because it's really indicative of the team around him. But like if you look at just the charts in his overall game, like he's a second pairing defensive defenseman, and they're paying him like
5 years, like $25.5 million.
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yeah. So they're paying him like not a top guy, but paying him like a pair guy that you put with top guy. Yeah, he sucks.
All right, so
I would say
the good news is of this show, we've now located 50% of the hatred. Right, Jack's got Zach Edey, Mike has Rasmus Ristolainen. Mark, it's just up to me and you now to find a player that we vehemently dislike.
I mean, I truly like Ben Simmons, but I just think his career's so over, it's barely worth it.
Correct.
Guys, we didn't mention Nnamdi Asomugha.
That was
one of the worst. That was one of the worst signings. And D'Amico Ryans. Or no, not D'Amico Ryans. I love D'Amico Ryans.
No, DeMarco
Murray.
Signing.
DeMarco Murray. Sorry, yes. I fucked up the name. I love D'Amico Ryans. DeMarco Murray, bad signing.
D'Amico Ryans is still probably the best middle linebacker they've had since they signed him.
But I do have one. The first person that came to my mind when this question was asked.
How can we not say Andrew Bynum?
Well, that was the other one that
contract ever.
That was the one that came to my mind.
As a Sixer.
But however, a guy who did play, and a guy who loves the humongous big solar system, Ilya Brizgalov. I could not have been more excited about him. And fucking Breezy was the worst goaltender in the NHL for as long as we had that man.
Really, really
he
bad.
Was great for Hard Knocks or whatever. What was it called?
It was the Tracy Morgan thing. Or whatever it was.
Road to Glory.
Yeah.
Solar system, humongous big.
He was incredible. He stole the show there. Yeah, I've got 2. I mean, I have like plenty of hockey ones that probably wouldn't even resonate with the majority of the listeners. But one very recent one for the Yankees is Aaron Hicks. The fact that he was ever re-signed was a brutal contract. It wasn't even a contract signing, but the fact that they took on Josh Donaldson's contract was stupid as all hell.
Yep.
But the bigger one for the Yankees, and this is wild that like he was still on the payroll as of I think 2 years ago. Jacoby Ellsbury was a terrible contract. Not all his fault because there were injuries, but like the dude was injured before the contract was made. And then they signed, I just looked it up, 7 years, $153 million for a guy that you barely remember as a New York Yankee.
I think the other one for the Yankees, I don't know, Jack, if you even remember this guy. I just remember seeing him in a lot of the old MLB The Show games and him being like a double A journeyman by the time I started like really playing. They posted a ridiculous number for Kiyagawa.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
such an obscure pull at this point that like if you guys don't remember him, I totally get it. But like
Yeah.
I don't think I think he struggled in double A.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, the name resonates, but I couldn't tell you like a memorable moment of his in the MLB ever or any stats. Yeah.
Another
I got
one.
one for you that I think is technically one of the worst contracts of all time, but we're all gonna love it because we fucking hate this team. The New York Mets, Bobby Bonilla.
Great contract for him.
Dude,
Amazing.
he's maybe the smartest like
Brilliant.
businessman ever. Like, all right,
Okay.
I don't need it now. He's got millions already.
You know what's hilarious
Go ahead
about
and take one
that?
of those.
I didn't want to make the comparison, but when we were on this podcast and I knew you guys were going to bring up my proposal, I was going to make a Bobby Bonilla joke. I was going to say I found my Bobby Bonilla. I'm going to be paying this woman for the rest of my life.
Boo.
But I hate the Mets.
You know what?
Because you brought it up.
Up until like 3 months ago, one of the worst contracts in recent NHL history was Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, $10 million a year for what he was producing in Florida up until, again, like months ago was not good at all. He was worth maybe half of that. Now, I mean, he just got shelled for 4 goals in the game tonight. So great timing on my part. But like he was bringing them to a Stanley Cup up until this point. So
Yeah, but that's a team
yeah.
that's a team that spent money on him and then 2 years later said, you know what, we might need to have an out clause in this, and drafted Spencer Knight with the 7th overall pick.
Quite literally, if Spencer Knight wasn't going through his mental health issues off the ice and like completely stepped away from the game of hockey, we wouldn't be talking about Sergei Bobrovsky in the playoffs right now because he would not have been a key piece of this year's Florida Panthers team.
That's true.
If you're still hanging with us, we appreciate it, first of all. And second of all, if you don't mind, hit that like for this video. We would appreciate that very much. And drop a subscription down below as well.
I asked you assholes 3 times to do it last week.
See, I try to be nice. And Mike's like, I hate you all.
Yeah.
Alienating our listeners.
I think it's time we start every video with a hey, what's up, guys?
Guys,
If you don't mind subscribing right up here. One of our old videos is over there.
Whoa. This is weird because Jill doesn't text me often, but she just sent me a text. She said, I will be returning the ring. Don't get at least 5 subscribers from the show tonight. So America is on you.
Save
I
my
thought it was
future
because Mike
marriage.
compared her to Bobby Bonilla's contract.
Guys, Mike could never do better than this. You guys need to help him.
Please don't do this to me.
Guys, we've touched a lot on the NBA finals and the NHL finals. So we'll probably talk more about it as they come to a conclusion. But one thing that I did want to bring up to you guys today, if we're doing, bests and worsts, I saw this tweet. I have absolutely no idea who this guy is, so I apologize. He is the college hockey reporter for the Grand Forks Herald for North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota.
Is it Elliot Schlossman or is it someone else?
Yes, Brad Elliott Schlossman.
Love that guy.
You know him?
Well, yeah, I met him actually.
It's incredible. First
Him and Jack go way back. It's actually Jack's wingman. That's Jack's wingman when he goes out to bars.
Yeah.
When he goes out to Fargo.
We took the Brad out of his name because Elliot Schlossman just flowed a little easier.
Okay. So the Ducks announced today that they have hired Greg Conan as their new head coach, right? And he's got this plethora of experience. So this guy, Elliot Schlossman, tweets, my second weekend as the North Dakota beat, or on the North Dakota beat, he came to town as head coach of Northeastern. He was upset about the officiating that night and told media after the game, and this is a direct quote, all 3 of them, Mo, Larry, and Curly, were sniffing glue. And so, first and foremost, I don't know what's funnier, calling the official crew the Three Stooges or saying that they were collectively sniffing glue. Just because I think that both of those things are independently funny and together are even funnier. So it got me thinking about great coaches and player moments with the media, whether it be outbursts or, crying, that's my quarterback with T.O. There's all these moments with players and coaches that go to the media. So I wanted to ask you guys, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. What are some of the great moments like that either coach, player, GM, owner, whatever it might be, where they have this blow up media with the moment with the media, and it gets like forever enshrined.
I got one that's fresh in my mind just because we were talking about it recently. Was when T.O. had all the media in his driveway. It was just to talk shit, basically.
Dude,
he was like, "I'm gonna get my workout in. I'm gonna talk shit the whole time."
He had some great moments during that time. He had that's my quarterback.
Man, that's my quarterback.
Yep,
This is a media circus.
One of the greatest sound bites in NHL history was a run-in with Jim Schoenfeld, the coach of the Devils in the 80s, and referee Don Koharski. Schoenfeld was pissed off about the way the game was refereed, and so after the game, he's yelling at Koharski and, bunch of F-bombs, bunch of curse words, but the best line, he looked at Koharski and he goes, "Go have another donut."
That is, I know which one. Yeah, I know that one. That is tremendous.
Just an incredible chirp.
I think hockey chirps are the best chirps usually.
Hockey chirps are the best chirps. And another one is Sean Avery in the playoffs, I think in like 2007, went through the handshake line after they beat the Devils. And Marty Brodeur did not shake Avery's hand. That was the playoff series where, if you remember, Avery turned around and faced Brodeur and waved the stick in his face like this. And then they outlawed, you can't screen a goalie that way. But after he was interviewed about that after the game and they were showing him the handshake line, he goes, "I guess Fatso there just forgot to shake my hand."
Damn. It's a good one.
Love him or hate him, but he's quotable as hell.
Fatso the Clown. Speaking of which, one of me and Jack's favorite quotable. Jack, I'm gonna ask you. Who do you think I'm talking about? One of our collective favorite quotable athletes of all time.
Oh, okay, you guys are going an athlete. I was gonna say, if you're going a coach, we might be going with the same guy. But go ahead.
Wow, I thought you were gonna go media quotes about an athlete, and you were gonna say highly questionable. But
well, I do love him, but no, I'm thinking of a guy who think of more obscure sports, not your typical like Big Four.
Thad Castle.
No, but that's a good one. That's a fictitious one. I'm thinking real. I'm going to give you one very easy hint. We'll shout out Steve Krasik. And that's the tie.
Ah, yes, boxing.
And who is it?
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson once said, "I'm many things. I'm a convicted rapist. I'm a hellraiser. I'm a father, a loving father. I'm a semi-good husband. I'm pretty much a tyrant titan." That guy is just ridiculous.
What?
I think that's also an Eminem lyric.
That's a real quote.
What?
He called himself all those things just to basically say, like, I am the man in the ring. But the one that takes the cake is, I'm a semi-good husband.
Semi-good husband.
I'm a semi-good husband. Semi-good father.
So I am stunned. When you were saying the obscure, I thought you were going with one of the great bowling scenes of all time.
Pete,
what's
his name?
"Who do you think you are? I am" is one of the great bowling scenes of
Pete
all time.
Weber.
Pete Weber.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Not Pete Wheeler.
Right.
No.
It's hilarious that you brought this question up though, Tyler, because literally today at work we were talking about something and somebody was like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't get whatever that thing inside." I'm like, "You want some dogs on your team? Like, you don't want no kitty cats. No meow."
Did they know what you were talking about?
I cannot think of that coach's name now, bro.
Wait, is that Mike Gundy?
Was it Mike Gundy that did that?
Mike Gundy's the same one that did "I'm a man, I'm 40."
I'm a man. I'm 40.
I was gonna say, like, this is a segment, and then like Mike Gundy has a special segment inside of this segment.
Correct. But I'm gonna give you one who maybe even tops the Mike Gundy lash outs, because these aren't lash outs. These are just the most ridiculous things that you ever could hear. And rest in peace to this man. He passed away late last year, I believe. Here's a quote. "It's a little like breakfast. You eat ham and eggs. As a coach and players, we're like the ham. You see, the chicken's involved, but the pig's committed. We're like the pig. They're like the chicken. They're involved, but everything we have rides on this."
The king of the air raid, baby.
Mike Leach has some of the all-time quotable lines that make absolutely no sense. And I'm going to give you one more, and this is not a line. Did you know that for, I think, 3 semesters, Mike Leach and his former friend, Washington State Senator and Spokane County Treasurer Mike Bumgardner, had a class at Washington State that was called Insurgent Warfare and Football Strategies. So the Bumgarner guy taught like warfare strategies, and then Mike Leach would come in and be like, "All right, well, you see, this is what our air raid offense looks like."
That's
Mike Leach
right
has some of the wildest things I've ever seen.
Oh man, y'all talking about practice right now?
That's a great one. I will say though, an underrated one, another shout out to a really great person who has since passed away, the great Darren Dalton, who once said of John Kruk, "It ain't over till the fat guy swings." Good
Darren
one.
Dalton, same dude who was having out of body experiences mid game.
Yeah.
That team was full of nuts, bro. Nuts.
Maybe one of the first great quotable sports figures also has definitely passed away. But Yogi Berra has again laundry list of just ridiculous quotes. The best one probably being, "When you come to a fork in the road, take it."
Yep.
I like that one. I use the 90% mental half the time.
Yep.
That's one of my favorites. I use that constantly.
But I saw that today, and I sent that to you guys immediately, and I'm like, this has to go somewhere.
How about anytime John Madden talked about Brett Favre? Brett Favre, if you put 11 Brett Favres on one side of the field and 11 Brett Favres, madness.
Who do you think will win?
That's obvious.
The ones in Wranglers would win.
Humongous watermelon heads.
Wait, who was the Watermelon Heads? I thought Mike was.
I was the Melonheads.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You were the super
Mark,
duper
you-
monsters.
I know who I
you
was.
screwed
I'm
up
just-
your own team.
That's just the best team.
That's true. They are the best team.
Not drafted though, terribly drafted.
Well, we know the brains aren't on that roster. The IQ is not strong.
We are who they thought we were. Can't even do it.
And we
We
let
are
them
who we
off-
thought they were. But we
Speaking
let
of
them
brains.
off the hook.
One of my all-time favorite stories from him was the year he was the head coach of the Vikings when they lost in the NFC title game. He made a deal with his players that if they won, he would go fishing on Monday, and they wouldn't have practice. He's like, so I fished 15 times that year. Not bad.
Gotta love it.
It's a lot of Mondays.
Speaking of another guy,
right,
very
guys.
intelligent guy. Last one. Shaquille O'Neal once said, "I scored a 1600 minus 800 minus 200 on the SAT. I'm a very intelligent man."
But you know what the thing? Shaq is extremely intelligent. Like,
Yes, he
He's
is.
a businessman. He's got the way that he has operated his financial side of things since leaving the game has been incredible. Like, he's made so much, like, folds and folds and folds money more outside of the game than he has inside the game.
Shout
Yeah,
out
favorite-
DJ Diesel.
FTX was a misstep, but hey.
Well,
Ah,
it was for a lot of people, right? But like
so was Shazam, or Kazam.
Kazam. But like every time you see a commercial and Shaq's on it, I'm like, well, Shaq just got another paycheck.
Well, the coolest fact about Shaq is that Shaq doesn't endorse anything that he's not willing to put his money into. So everything you see him endorsing, he also has like a decent portion of like ownership.
That makes
of it.
sense.
I think the favorite thing that
I don't
Shaq
think the General
has to
did.
be the General car insurance. Like when Shaq would pop on the General car commercials next to that little animated General was the funniest thing ever.
That's the only one I don't think he really knew what he was putting his money into.
There's
That's
no
okay.
way. There's no way he's driving his cars with the General.
No chance. Is anyone?
He's got no. I don't.
Go to the
I
General
think
and say
The same people that
I
would
think it's a
buy
money-
the
I think it's a
General are
money
the people
laundering
that wouldn't
scheme.
buy car insurance. It's the same people.
Correct.
But every single person watching this knows the jingle.
Yep.
Every one of us.
1 and a 2.
For a great low rate, you could get
Get
online.
online, go to the General and save some time. All right, now
Darn.
poison control hotline in 3, 2.
Oh no,
dude!
no,
I thought I was
no.
gonna know that one forever, and it's starting to leave my mind.
1-800-222-1222.
Yeah, there it is. Okay.
You know
And
it.
you know what's the one that was the worst when we like for an entire summer, like every other commercial
We
was
are
1-877
stronger.
Lions
cars for kids.
Oh, yeah. Donate your car today. Did you see
Yeah.
somebody try to donate? They sent a Little Tykes, like one of those little plastic vans to Cars for
Great
Kids,
idea.
and they responded, "You've wasted our time. Like, please do not reach out to us anymore."
How do you get on a charity's bad side?
Well, the funny part about that story is they didn't reject it because of what the car was. They rejected it because that toy car was insured with the General.
That makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
High risk.
Huge.
Gentlemen, I think unless anybody else has anything else, it's time.
Thank you. It is me tonight.
You are up this week.
And we're going to stick with the theme simply because not that she hasn't gotten enough shout outs tonight, but my fiance Jill wanted to get a shout out from me specifically. She feels like the three of you. Yes, it's very weird.
Yeah, it's going to be weird.
She feels like the three of you are the ones who give her shout outs on the podcast. So Jill, one of our very loyal listeners, shouting you out tonight. She gave us the idea for this one. So I do need to come up with one on my own next time. But her question posed to the group was, what is the worst place for a proposal ever? And I'll let whoever wants to go start. Jack, you got it.
I tried to propose one time in a 7-Eleven gas station bathroom, but the hobo didn't want it. Sorry, Jack, you go ahead.
You didn't have your wingman with you.
What kind of proposal was this?
So this is a engagement proposal. However, I think the stipulation was definitely not that one.
Yeah.
I think there was some stipulation around like maybe posing it as if it was in the sports world. However, we're just going to go all the way with it. Just like the worst place ever.
Yeah, the state of Ohio.
Good. I like it.
Detroit,
entire state.
Detroit in general.
Yeah. This is like too obvious, and I'm going to think of some more creative ones, but like a funeral.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know, dude. That could be pretty hot.
Well, you and Will Ferrell from Wedding Crashers both think that. You know the best place to pick up chicks? A funeral.
Died in a hang gliding accident. Freaking idiot.
Meatloaf.
I think there's only one worse place. Yeah,
that would Denny's.
How about Golden Corral?
Ooh.
I think the one worse place than at a funeral would be at her wedding.
Oh,
that's really bad. Yeah. Listen, I'm just gonna tell you, if anybody tries to propose at any of your weddings, the mother of the bride is not liable for what's about to happen. Because they will be hurt bad.
I'd love to see Denise Swenson pop somebody right in the face. That would be awesome.
No.
Yeah. No. You got any others?
Oh no.
It's just gonna be stuck in our heads the rest of the night now. What could happen if that happened? Trying to think where else. Like
maybe like right as they're going into labor, like they're just like getting after. You're like, hey, by the way, babe, would you marry me? Hey, would you just like out of here, please?
Yeah. How about like a hostage situation?
I think I found the same. I just looked up a list, and I think I'm on the same thing as you, Jack.
Wait, there's a list. I promise you, I can share my screen. I don't have anything up right now.
If we get out of here alive,
yeah. The funeral is number one. The hostage situation is 3. We also have On the Bachelor. Yeah, there's a very low success rate for those.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, on the set of Jerry Springer is 1. It's a good one. Golden
Oh,
Corral is 5.
Rest in peace, Jerry. Golden Corral is on there.
I mean, I was just like, it's. You said Denny's. We said 7. Like just crappy restaurants.
It could be worse. Instead of a Golden Corral, it could be like a Ryan's instead. It's a shittier Golden Corral.
Number 6, I'll refrain from mentioning.
What's up, Denny's?
Number 7, in line at the DMV. I don't know. I feel like you could spruce, like if you're in line for the DMV, everything sucks. If you get proposed to, it's like, all right, well, I don't care about waiting now.
I was gonna say, how about on the Titanic?
Wow. Short-lived.
I'm sure there were, but we'll never know.
Right.
Add a Taco Bell with the Taco Bell sauce.
No, stop,
That's Will You
stop.
Marry?
Because my first date ever with Josie was to a Taco Bell. So we
Classy.
can't.
You hit her with the "Will you marry me" packet?
No, it would have been too soon.
So I want to ask you guys. I actually saw this happen a couple months ago. So a couple got engaged. I presume both of them are huge fans of the band, and maybe it's how they connected. But it was at a metal show. And granted, like if you're at a metal show, you're a metal fan, right? So I mean, it makes sense. But like, it was literally I guess they had coordinated with the band, and the band like stopped the pit so like he could get down on one knee in the middle of the pit and propose. And like, I don't know if it was super cool or super terrible.
I think that's horrible.
If
Just
they
putting
met
that out
way,
there.
that's kind of cool though, because they like got the band coordinated with it.
Right.
If you
So
got
they-
to come
they
up on
organized it.
stage, if you got to go up on stage, that's one thing. I think if
Sure.
you're in like I know somebody who got did the proposal at the John Mayer concert. I'm like, I don't know about
Why?
that.
Nothing gets me hotter than John
You
Mayer.
sure about that?
I mean, your
You
body
sure
was a
about that's
Wonderland
why?
banger.
You sure?
I
55 tacos, 55 pizzas.
100 shakes, 100 coffees.
there's a lot of really bad public spots. Like I totally
In a
get why
morgue,
you guys.
maybe?
What's that?
In a morgue,
That would be
Jesus.
rough.
random one.
Um, Like, but Mike, you guys had a good idea of like doing it. Like, if you want it private, private's like if you want it to be like a public thing, do a public thing. But like, if you're trying to look for some privacy, there's a lot of really bad places you could go.
Yeah.
There's just
A
too much.
baseball
There's just
game.
too much. Yeah, any sporting event's terrible. I think it's an awful idea.
I think that's a bad way to do it.
How about like a child's birthday party?
Bad.
That's
How about at a child custody hearing?
probably pretty bad too. Yeah.
Worse.
Would you be?
I want my kids back. Will you marry me?
On Twitter, maybe? How about
DM or like at?
On the
Oh,
DMs.
Twitter. Oh my god. Dude, you want the people to know.
On this podcast?
No, now don't put that one down because there's one of us that could still do that, guys.
That's what I'm saying.
In the airport.
Oh no.
The airport thing is so sappy. It's gross. Like, first of all, every scene in movies where they're like running through the airport, you'd have gotten TSA tackled. Probably would have gotten tased. Like,
Oh.
you're not getting to where you want to go.
Pre-2001 was very different though.
Fair, but like,
Ooh, how about on Club Penguin?
That's elite. Yo, hit me in the puffle disco. Will you marry me?
so I think we've come to the conclusion there's a lot of really bad answers. A lot of really bad answers.
Girl, I promise the finest igloo for you.
Yo, I'm gonna get you like thousands of those little puffballs that can follow you around.
I think Jill and Josie are both sitting back going, dude, why didn't we make them do it on Club Penguin?
So
Club Penguin would have been elite.
I do remember now, there was one thing that Jill brought up that made this question something that she thought of in the first place. And it was that there was a TikTok that went viral of this guy he would go up in Disney World to his wife at every single different place where there were a bunch of people and fake propose to her to like make her feel uncomfortable so that everybody around be like, and it's one of the funniest things you'll see. And it definitely would be extremely uncomfortable if that was you. But like, I do think that like getting proposed to in Disney would kind of suck too. That would be
So
In
my
line and about the roller coaster too.
my wife, there was a couple of places she was like absolutely not, and Disney World was one of them.
smart.
Was,
But she
Bridget,
knows that
smart.
you love Disney World more than you love her, and that's okay.
Me
Was the-
personally, they're neck and neck.
it depends on the day. Was the wife in that TikTok video in on it?
No.
Yeah, so that's my question because I see a lot of fake proposal videos. I'd have to imagine, unless they're a really good sport, the person getting fake proposed to is probably pretty pissed off
eventually, yeah.
afterwards.
Oh,
It might
yeah.
be funny the first time through, like haha,
Yeah.
we made a video. After that, it would be
Yeah.
brutal.
But when it's the Jurassic Park world and then the Super Mario world, by the time you get to Star Wars world, she's ready to go full Darth Vader on your ass.
She bought a lightsaber
Jack's
just to
just
smack
Jack's
his
just
head
leaping
off.
parks now.
I don't know what this.
And see, the real problem is then she'll never go to like Universal with you then too.
Right.
Because what are the odds now?
She
Or
might
she probably
just not
out
go
of
in
it.
public with you anymore.
Yeah, that's most girls after like the first date with me. I get it.
Ouch. Second self burn.
Yeah,
We
it's
love
feeling
you,
good
Mark.
today, though.
Mark
It's
had
feeling
a,
good.
Mark had a great day, and then he came on this podcast and he's like, you know what I'm going to do? Self-deprecation for 58 minutes.
Oh, I've got another good one. At
Okay.
someone
Okay.
else's wedding. Could you imagine if you're at your wedding and
Oh, we
somebody
said
like
this.
proposes?
Are we coming
Did we
back
do
full
that one?
circle?
Did we do that one?
We literally just went full circle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've learned a couple of things today. Mark is
No.
hurting himself today.
All right.
He's just mad at himself. Mike doesn't listen to any of us when we speak. He's just
Correct.
waiting. He's just waiting for his turn.
What'd you say?
Is it your turn?
It's his turn.
Oh, okay. Let me think. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, in that case, since you're not listening, why don't you send us out?
All right, everybody. Appreciate it. It's been fun as usual. Hope we talked enough sports to fill the quota for today. Probably not, but you know what? We'll see you next week. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'll be nice this time. This is your last chance.
If you have somewhere
Subscribe
that's,
on
like, somewhere you think of that's even worse to get proposed to, comment below. Let us know.
That would be
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
And Chipotle would be a great place to get proposed to. Hot take.
Maybe.
Anyway, that's it for us tonight. For Tyler Zulli, Mark Fagnani, Jack Molesky, Mike Davella here signing off. We'll see you next week.
Subscribe to save the engagement.